Hey everyone, it's Cassie.
It's Esty. We're best friend-in-laws. We've got some shit to say.
I'm ready, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, we're back. Your besties.
Hey besties. I hope everyone's summer is going well. By the time this episode drops, it will be August 1st.
Yeah, so hopefully the heat starts going down because it's pretty hot and, we got all these lights on us, so.
I feel like the way that I keep describing it to people, because I talk to a lot of people from, out of the state at work, and everybody's like, how are you guys doing? Are you melting? Because, in the East Coast, they're super humid and, changing their shirts 3 times a day and stuff, and I'm like, have you ever just taken your blow dryer to your face? It's like that. Yeah. Welcome to California.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't like to do anything at night, going outside until dark.
Yeah.
By the time it's my bedtime.
So. Or like Jesse always says, don't invite me if it's not in the air conditioning or if the sun hasn't gone down yet.
Oh, yeah. The Sweet 16 I did for my cousin was inside, thank God.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty hot last Saturday, but it came out so beautiful. Everything turned out so nice. And I was just happy that it was inside, because to walk from the car, though, to inside, I was like,
not only that, I feel like even cakes and balloons are not surviving for this though. We drove past a house that was on our the main street here, and they were setting up for a beautiful party and this and that. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. It's not that. By the time I went to where I was going and came back, the balloon arch had gone down, and I was like, I hope she did not pay for that. Poor thing. Yeah. But yeah, so we have a special guest, first ever, one-on-one interview,
exclusive.
And I'm loving this. This is exciting. This is a new step for your besties.
Yes, I'm excited because I know her, and been going to her for a while. And I just love her, business ethics. And, she's her own business owner. And I've seen her grow and evolve over the years.
And that's what we're here for. I love, women empowering women. And so I think this is a good way for us to lean on each other. And she's going to grow with us. We're going to grow with her. I think this is going to be great. We have a few questions that we've lined up for her. And can't wait to get her on the line.
Yeah, so hope you guys enjoy, and let us know. I mean, if you want more guests, or if you just like to hear us, talk to each other.
Talk shit all day long.
Hear what we gotta say.
Yeah, if you want to be a special guest on our show, check our link in bio and all of our socials.
Yeah.
Bye, besties.
Hello. I'm all silent, there's not a microphone.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the Best Friend-in-Law podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
Cassie, do you want to take center stage and announce who we have here?
Yeah, so I just wanted to announce Crystal. She's a wax girl of mine and becoming friend, because it's been a long time I've been seeing you. So
many years, yeah.
Yeah. So I really wanted to, when I reached out, I bring you up a lot in the podcast. So I wanted to, put a face to the awesome stories.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think another reason why we wanted to reach out and see if you were interested in coming on was because we want to be able to give a platform for women. And as a small business owner, I think that this is perfect opportunity for us to show what we're here for, right? Women empowering women.
Yeah, definitely. I love that.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and also where people can find you, your ats, and then we'll add them again at the end.
All right. Okay, so my name's Crystal Childers. My business name, I go by Crystal Cosmo because I'm a cosmetologist and it makes it easy.
That's cute.
I have, well, I have 5 children, and I run my own waxing business and also own a salon here in Fresno. And I've been waxing for 10 years. I specialize in women's intimate waxing, full body waxing, lash lifts, and lamination. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
What made you choose this line of profession 10 years ago?
That's a good story, actually. So my whole life, I actually thought I wanted to be a nurse. And I did all the things, and I was working in the medical field for some years. And then eventually I realized like I really didn't enjoy it.
No, we understand.
Especially like I went through a divorce and everything got turned upside down, and I was just kind of like, I don't like this, and it was really hard working 17-hour days with a toddler. And I was working night shift too, like knock shift. So like I'd get home at the time he's waking up for the day. So it was really hard.
No breaks.
Exactly. And I was working and trying to go back to school to further my career, and between all the things, it just got too hard. And so I decided to take a year or no, I decided to take a semester off of school, and I just worked.
That's a bad idea
But
already.
yeah, and then eventually it was a year, right? And I just, at the end of that year, like I literally was working 2 to 3 jobs at one point, all at the same time, just trying to make ends
Wow.
meet. And if it weren't for my family, I don't know what I would have done, because they were amazing help for my son. But I was exhausted, and I didn't like what I was doing. And I was venting to my best friend one day, who actually lives in Oregon now. We grew up together from the time we were in diapers. And she told me that I should go to beauty school, and I laughed. Because I have always been kind of a tomboy, actually, especially when I was younger. I don't even like do my own hair or makeup. So I was like, nobody's gonna want me to do their hair. Like, I don't even brush mine, And she's like, no, you've always been really good at it. And I guess I was like, when we'd get ready and stuff, like everybody wanted me to do this or do that. I just never put myself together. And so I thought about it, and I toured a couple schools, and then I decided to go to Paul Mitchell here in Fresno. And I graduated from there. And 2 weeks after I graduated, actually, I found out I was pregnant with twins.
Wow.
So at this point, it had been a couple years, and I had started dating someone new after my divorce and everything. And we separated, and then I found out I was pregnant like a month later, which was 2 weeks after graduating school. It was a really high risk pregnancy. I was put on bed rest. So I wasn't even able to take my state board until they were 6 months old. So it was about a year and a half after I graduated almost. So that was scary, but I passed my test and I became a cosmetologist, and then I didn't use that license for a couple of years. And I was working full time doing customer service, like at a warehouse, and got really tired of that. I started dating my boyfriend now, and he was the one that essentially was like, "Hey, you're not happy doing what you're doing. I know you want to be in the salon. Like, you just need to go for it." And I was telling him like how scary it would be to try to start a business and make ends meet, like at least I have a steady paycheck, and because things are harder for women. Like, as much as I hate to admit that sometimes, like, a man can get out of prison and get a prevailing wage construction job making $50 an hour, and we can't.
No, absolutely agree.
But he was just on me, and he was like, I don't care if I have to pay your salon rent for a year. Like, you need to do it. And
Oh.
I never had the courage to ask him for help, even when I probably should have. I struggled my first year, but I made it work. And by my second year, I was already profitable. In my third year, I
Wow.
was making nearly six figures. So it was great.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like you've come a long way and you have a very supportive village.
Yeah,
And that's a
definitely.
blessing.
Definitely, yeah.
That's good. We just talked about this like on our
Mm-hmm.
last episode that I struggle to ask for help. It's a flaw. It's not something to be proud of. Like when I hate to admit that I need help, like when I need it, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'll figure it out. Like I'm always in a I figure it out girl, and I really need to learn how to be like, I think I need you to help me get this off my plate.
same. I just recently have started learning that, like in the last year. But being a mom and stuff, like, it's so, like, you get let down a lot, especially as
Yeah.
a single mom,
Yeah,
and so you just learn you can only rely on yourself. And over time, it just kind of takes a toll. And then you realize, like, the inner turmoil that you're dealing with isn't worth the few seconds of embarrassment or whatever to ask for the help.
that's true. That's actually a good way of put that. That's very
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
Well,
So,
hold on.
I wanted to also bring up you're also a farm mom. Don't forget about that.
Yes,
Oh, it wasn't
we
just the kids?
It's
No,
not just
not
the
just the
kids.
kids. So I have three of my own and two step now. So my youngest are the twins. They're 9. They'll be 10 actually here soon. My oldest is about to turn 18, and then 12 and 13-year-olds. And last year, about a year and a half ago, we moved on to an old like farmhouse property of like 2 acres that came
Oh
with
wow.
goats. So I had to learn to
Nice.
goat tend like immediately. And I had always wanted chickens. My great grandma had them when I was younger, and I loved them. And so I got chickens. I started with 4, and now have 22.
That is goals
It's
on
a
top of
little bit of a
goals.
problem. And I love to garden, so I have a big garden now too. So yeah, I'm quite busy. Sometimes I wonder why I make myself do so much.
Because I think that like the one thing we probably all three have in common is like thriving in the chaos. Cassie's a perfect
Hmm.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think she creates her own chaos sometimes
I do too. I do too.
just to fill in
Hence
the
the
day.
chickens and the goats and the plants.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
I saw you had like the abundance of cucumbers. How does that even
Oh
happen?
my
Did you
gosh, I don't
miracle
know.
grow?
I've always struggled growing cucumber until this year I decided to plant different varieties that I honestly had never even like heard of or paid attention to.
Yeah.
So I planted Persian and Armenian cucumbers, which have turned out to be my favorite cucumbers ever.
Oh
They're
wow.
like so good. But they're going insane. I think it's the property because it was farmed, so we have like really good soil. And they're
Mhm.
planted just in ground, and yeah, they're super happy. I'm getting like 10 cucumbers a day off of my plant. Like every time I walk out, I
Wow.
find more. Yeah.
Like what can I do with all of this?
I've been giving them away. I'm like, I need to make pickles, but I haven't made the time. And
Was that the goal?
I've eaten my fill in cucumber salad. So yeah. My
Cucumber
goal was to like,
waters.
yeah, do like the canning and stuff, but man, it's a lot between having to cook dinners and all the things with 5 kids home for summer. It's like impossible.
Are your chickens, are they like they produce as well?
Yeah,
Do you get eggs from them?
I get a dozen or more a day right now. Yeah, so that's another
Holy.
thing. I'm like, please, please come get eggs.
So
Wow.
I heard about the eggs, like you have to get them like fast or they start like if they sit on them too long, they like start, growing.
Yeah, if
Is that
you
true? Like you
have
have
a
to get them every day.
rooster and the eggs are fertilized, like I have a broody hen right now. I go out every day and take the eggs out from under her because I don't need any more chickens right now. But and we do have a rooster, and that's actually half of the reason I have as many chickens as I do now. I had a broody hen that I thought died because she literally like went MIA last year, and she showed up with like 9 chicks. Um,
Oh wow.
but yeah, I'm getting lots of eggs, and one of I like we have so when you have farm fresh eggs, they don't actually have to be refrigerated. They can sit out on the counter as long as they're unwashed. And
Oh.
I'm terrified to do that because I'm like, it's really hot in California, and I'm
Mhm.
just thinking like, what if they continue to develop on the counter and I like crack open a chick one day? It like stupid, like probably the
Yeah.
stupidest thing, like not gonna happen, but I'm terrified of it. So ours goes straight into the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I think that's just like it's like one of those unwritten rules, like no, eggs just belong in the fridge. Like
Right? Here in America, I guess we're like the only
yeah.
ones that do that.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you gonna cook those now?
Yeah.
Don't leave them out too long.
That's crazy. I have to say, like, I'm super envious and like that's so all the goals I've ever wanted. I've always wanted goats.
I
I want my own piece of land. Like
They are
that's
like having
awesome.
toddlers. They are trouble, but they're really fun.
And you can't just have one. You have to have them in a pair, right?
Yeah, yeah. They definitely need a buddy, and it's got to be a goat buddy. A dog's not enough.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool though. You are a busy girl. Does that mean you work Monday through Friday or Saturday through Saturday or
Oh
like
my
what does that look like for
gosh.
you?
I know. You know what? Quarantine changed so much for me. I was like workaholic prior to quarantine, like literally 18, 20 Brazilians a day. Uh
Wow.
And then, our industry was completely shut down. And then the kids didn't go to school for a whole year, essentially. We were online
Mhm.
schooling. So someone had to be home. And obviously that was me because I'm the one with the flexibility. So, I had to step back. The salon I was in completely closed down. And then trying to find a place that I could even afford, let alone like spend enough time to even make it worth it was impossible with the kids doing online school. And so that's kind of actually how I fell into opening my own salon. I originally had a business partner with me, and we were looking for a suite to share because we were both kind of in the same boat, moms and kids in school. And yeah, we ended up finding this place, and we felt like it was affordable enough for us that we decided to go for it. And
Did you say
so
you had
actually my
multiple suites?
waiting, yes, we have 2 suites and then a hair floor, and a waiting area and all that. But yeah, my waiting area now was my kids' classroom for quite a while. We both worked privately
Oh,
out of our suites for about a year before we got the rest of the salon together.
well, that's cool though. I mean, that works for
Yeah.
you guys.
That's
And
how
it
we
worked
had to
out
make it
well.
work. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was there. I went there when the kids were in school.
When it was like bare in here.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So you mentioned that you have a divorce under your belt. How is your
Hmm.
co-parenting situation look like?
Not good. For many
We
years,
don't have to get too personal.
many years, it was good because I removed myself. We have just some issues. I have my story, he has his, and
Of course.
you know,
Mhm.
Of
yeah.
course.
But the sad part in that is me having to realize that I needed to put distance between him and I ultimately cost me a lot of time with my son as well. And that's hard. And so having like an 8-year difference between him and my twins has definitely, and especially like maturity as I've gotten older, like opened my eyes to how much I truly missed out on. And it sucks because you can't get that time back. But it's made me a better mom to today, and that's why, when we were talking about what my work schedule looks like, now my entire schedule is worked around my children. So sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Take your
It's
time.
okay.
Take a deep breath. I'm sorry I hit a nerve.
Moms,
we
man,
did
we
this
try over everything.
our first 2 or 3 episodes, we were like this on a roller coaster. Like
it's so
it's a
hard.
lot of things you realize that you haven't said out loud in probably a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, so now my schedule's completely revolved around my children. So when school's in session, I'm working during school hours only. I want to be there to drop them off and pick them up and make all their awards events and their sports, and I missed out on all that for so long.
Yeah.
And for summer, like it was hard. It's definitely been hard on, my personal income outside of like the salon and whatever. But we share custody of our kids and have them on the same schedule. So we'd go every other week. And that allows us to be able to catch up on the missed income that we have because we're limiting our schedules for our children, right? So,
So you said like week on, week off?
Week on, week off. So the weeks off when our kids are at their other parents' house, him and I work. So he actually works full time for someone and then has his own business as well. So those weeks off, for summer, I've been home with my kids like a stay-at-home mom those weeks. And at first I was a little bit nervous about it, but I've actually really enjoyed it. We've had a fun time. Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Quarantine was definitely different. I lost my damn mind. I lost my mind when I got thrown into being a stay-at-home mom. But towards the end of it, I started to appreciate it, and it just changed so many things for me. I realized, the more I worked, the more money I made, the more bills I had. I really didn't actually have more, but I was losing time and
yourself.
Yeah, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I'd rather have less and spend more time with my family.
That's a good way to put that. Yeah, that's definitely a different outlook.
I recently did that too. I recently did that too. So I'm like, I'm stay-at-home mom right now, and it's an adjustment, but I've seen the change in my kids and my relationship with them. And that's what like mattered to me. I was like, I don't want to work. I had to work 2 jobs for, a few years, being a single mom. And, now that I'm in a different place, I'm like, I don't care about the money or that. Like, I just want to invest in the kids and that time because I don't want to miss award shows. I mean, I missed one of my daughters and you missed that one show, that one.
Yep.
You could be at 10 others, but they remember
that one. And to me, I'm like, no, my mom was a single mom and never made it to anything. And I wasn't even really there for me to have like that shoulder to lean on because she had to, work. She had to provide for us. She had 2 daughters and had to work. And that's understandable. And so I think that's invested in all of us, as women. We're just like, if we don't do it, who else will? So here we are working. And then later on, we're like, wait, we are missing this or not realizing it. Like it's, affecting our kids until later on. And, does it hurt us the whole time? Yes, we wish we could be there, but we didn't have a choice. We had to work. So I'm just grateful, like where I'm at right now. Now I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, I like the nice things and I like that stuff. But at the same time, like
time is more expensive.
I want my kids to know I'm always there and always going to be there. And, for my youngest son's, mental health, it made a big change. And
Yeah.
that's what matters. You know, to me, I'm like that. I'm not going to ever look back and be like, oh, I regret not working overtime or, you know, 80 hours a week. No, I'm not going to regret that.
Money comes
Exactly.
and money goes, but you're never going to get that time back.
I've never met a single person elderly person that's ever said they've regretted not working more.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah, this is very true. I'm in the same boat. I had a single mother who worked constantly, if not one but two jobs. So I am an only child as well, so I was left alone a lot to cook for myself, clean for myself, fend for myself. I also have a divorce under my belt. And so when I was going through my divorce, I found myself working graveyard just to be able to do mom and work. I didn't want to miss out on the award ceremonies, the sports things. And so I would just go on 2 hours of sleep just to be the full-time parent and still have an income, because I have an income.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point in my life, I'm in my career era. And now that I'm in management, I've made sure that not even just the women on my team, but the parents on my team, especially when it comes to like my PM shift starts at 3:00. If there's a, mother-son dance, father-daughter dance, if there's an award ceremony that's, 3:00, I would rather you tell me so that you can come in late and not regret or, missing out or coming in being in a bad mood because you should have been there. You can't stop thinking about the fact that you should have been there. No. Work can come second. Work will always be there. I would rather see you and the quality and happiness of my staff than to be missing out on moments you're never going to get back. You only get one.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I see both sides of the spectrum now. I didn't want to upset you with the co-parenting.
Oh,
I'm
it's
so
fine.
sorry. I didn't know your situation before you
I
came
obviously
on,
just
but
still have some traumas I gotta work through,
that's okay. We're figuring that out for ourselves as well.
I honestly think that's why I cry so easily now. Like, I've worked through so much. Like, I literally, like I'm covered in tattoos and I could sit for hours, 6 hours. I was fine. But I haven't been tattooed in 9 years. And I've worked through a lot. I've gone to therapy. I've done a lot and I'm kind of scared now. Like, I want to finish some of my pieces and I'm like, oh no, but what if it hurts? Because I feel now.
Yeah.
You're still a mother. I promise you, your pain levels are pretty high.
For sure. I find that out every day between a women's wax and a men's wax. Like, I don't do men's bikini waxing at all. Like, they come in for a nose and an eyebrow and they think that they got punched in the face. I'm like, oh, let me show you that.
You just pull one hair at a time and see.
Yeah.
If you can't handle one hair, you don't want all 30 coming off at the same time.
And I don't know why, like, waxing is so much faster. It doesn't hurt as much as tweezing. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And they're just the biggest babies ever.
But they want it done.
And yet they want to be mommed all the time and then get mad at us for being a mom.
Right. So speaking of the waxing, what would you say would be like your worst wax story?
Like what kind of worse? Like, how bad are we going?
Oh, whatever comes immediately to mind.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This was years and years ago when I actually worked for European Wax Center, and I don't like to talk about these things because as women, we're all so self-conscious. We're so self-conscious about our body and stuff. But I worked in healthcare, and so there's really nothing that can scare me anymore. But I had this one girl that would come to me when I was working there that didn't have very good hygiene. And there was a lot going on that I was like, man, just a little bit of soap and spreading, you'd be good.
So did you have to learn how to like poker face? Or can you deny?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had that down from being in healthcare anyways. You'd get some surprises, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's just you just work on through it like it didn't even happen. Wax right over it and watch it come off on that
Mm,
strip.
I don't want to know what this was.
From under cheese.
The cheese.
It's like, I don't want to know, but then I want to know.
You gotta know.
That's why we asked, right?
And it's not what you
Okay.
think. Like, I feel like I told that story once and someone was like, oh, was she a big girl? I'm like, not at all. She was smaller than me.
Oh my.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
because some
stigma
people.
ain't a thing.
So I just have so many questions. I'm just like, wait, are you aware that you're like this? Like, and you,
I
I feel like
don't think
in the
so.
small amounts I had a little bit of waxing experience. I ended up not, we've talked about this before. I can't do waxing because I don't like the in between times. I want the hair done immediately. So I am a daily shaver, unfortunately, I think for the rest of my life. But I
Forget that.
felt like when I knew that had the appointment, it's almost like I gotta leave work early, guys. I gotta go shower and freshen up. Like I've got an appointment. You
Yeah.
do the same thing for your annuals. Like
That's most people. And like
Hmm.
I keep wipes in the bathroom, so while you guys are here waiting, you can go in and clean up and
hint,
do
hint,
your
hint.
thing.
Hmm.
And I know she knew. I know she knew that. I just, you know what it is have you ever seen, so I was like watching oh man, what podcast was it? Your Mama's House or something. And they were talking um about this kind of like same subject, like as far as like cleanliness. And there's like a stigma around white people about like how we don't use white like washcloths and stuff, like we don't know how to clean ourselves. But I think
No.
it's just rich white people because I was poor and I know how to use a washcloth, you know? But like apparently there's people that like literally don't use a washcloth. Like they like rub the bar of soap which is so gross. Like ew. Like you
Ew.
no, I hope that's
No.
just your bar of soap. But but
I don't even want to know what your toothbrush
I
looks
think
like if
it
that's
might
the
be
case.
just something like that. Like, I honestly don't think anybody taught her how to properly cleanse that area because it's a tough subject for some
Right.
parents. You know,
Hmm.
you like, where's the line of this is inappropriate kind of thing? Like, how do you go about like making sure your kid knows how to clean themselves? But
Yeah.
I
yeah, in
feel
my
like
house
there's
it was
different.
we got sat down and talked to we're you know, like you're gonna
Hmm.
Yeah.
spread it. You're gonna
And I kid
so,
you not, I feel like it needs to happen every 5 years of someone's life. Like we need to reteach you all over again because now you
Hmm.
have different smells or different whatevers. Like,
oh my gosh, as
With
our
the
hormones
body
change,
changing.
right? Yeah, getting
Yeah.
old is
yeah,
fun. Getting old is so fun.
like I feel like ages 0 to 5, like we're probably doing the washing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Ages, and I feel like a lot of okay, you know what, you're 5 now, you can go on your own. I'm not gonna shower you anymore. Like, but make sure you get into this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
By age 10, we're repeating this conversation all over again. I swear.
Yep.
15. Holy.
Yeah. It's like you need to submerge yourself in alcohol. No.
Yes, and don't just spray a smell good on top of it.
Oh no.
Right.
Yeah, and mouthwash is not the same as brushing your teeth, man.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you.
Thank you. It's so
Louder.
literally.
Right? But
Yeah.
I feel bad that like I put a client on blast like that, but I have a funny story when it comes to waxing.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, it involves me. So I have a friend of mine that does waxing, and her salon is actually like around the corner from mine. That's the only way I will make the time to go get it done. I'm still terrible. But I don't know what was up this one time. Like every once in a while, I swear it's hormones, but every once in a while a wax hurts a lot worse than usual. And this particular day, I kicked my leg when she pulled the wax strip off. Like, I mean, flew. And when I tried to, to like recover myself and bring my leg back, I took her with me. Like, I had literally put her like in a headlock with my legs.
Sweet.
It was great. She still tells everybody that story. I think we both talk about that story a lot, but yeah. And she was like, "What are you doing? Like, you literally do this to people all day." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what just happened.
Do you ever get any like squirmy people?
Yeah, every once in a while, or some that like want to take breaks
I think
after
I'm
every single
squirmy.
strip. You're not that bad. Not at all. One of my actually really good friends is like the worst client I've ever had. She squirms, she closes her legs, she screams bloody murder. I mean, it's like a scene out of 40-Year-Old Virgin every time she comes in. And I'm like, how? She's older than me. She's had 3 kids. And I'm like, how can you still not do this? Yeah. She has to be my client, like my very last client of the day, so she doesn't scare everybody else.
Like, you have
Screaming
to come
from the
after
back.
hours.
That's hilarious.
So, SB started, how's it going? Not shaving from above her knee. Have you
I gave
heard
up.
that, like, in your, like, time of being an esthetician? Like, my family's always raised us to, like, shave between your ankle and your knee, nothing above.
Wait,
So
but
the
I
hair
gave
doesn't
up.
grow. You gave up.
I quit. I couldn't do it anymore.
You shaved it.
I was
I did.
raised that way too. And my thigh hair, I mean, I will shave it every once in a while too, but it's so thin and fine, it doesn't bother me like
It's like
ever.
non-existent for me.
Practically, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
unless I like
Maybe
walk out, I'm blonde, so when I walk out into the sun, it kind of like illuminates, like it looks like glitter. But hey, just
maybe
pull
it's
it.
because you guys have finer hair than me. My hair does not do that.
No,
Mm-mm.
it's because you shaved it.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you would have known SB when she was like 11, 12 years old, right before she started shaving, you'd be like, girl, shave it. Like, you can't walk around like that.
That's true. That's true. Some people are a little bit more blessed than others.
Yeah, I've seen Cassie's legs. There's like 3 hairs on them that she shaves every biannually or something. Like,
My leg hair, I know. I literally just shaved it, I think, the last time when we went to the beach because I was like, I think you could see them.
Right.
call yourself blessed, because that's just not a thing for me.
Have you ever done the thing where, like, if you're going to wear capris, you only shave the little bottom half? Like, not even the full half of the leg, just the little around the ankles?
The ankle.
Yeah. You gotta do that.
I don't know what that life is like.
Like, because I'm waxing, I wax, and my hair's gotten so thin and fine. I'm really terrible. I wax my legs like once every 3 months. Like, once I walk outside and the wind blows and it feels like a spider's crawling on me, then it's then it's fine. Like, when they start like flapping in the wind, I'm like, I should probably take these off.
And that's me. During that social experiment that I did, I couldn't make it like the full week because that's what I felt. I felt the breeze on my leg, and I was like, I can't do this. No, and it hadn't even been a couple days. Like, your skin's falling. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Not the breeze.
So I saw the videos of you waxing your own leg.
Mm-hmm.
During COVID, I bought myself a waxer, like a warmer. How do you pull it yourself? Is it mind over matter?
It is. And honestly, like, the biggest thing is consistency. Like, I've been waxing for years. So like I hardly have like a big like root to my hair anymore. Like, my follicles has shrunk so much. So many have given up on even producing hair that it kind of comes out like butter now. It's not terrible at all.
Okay.
but the wax makes a difference too, like temperature, knowing, and like I only use hard wax because it's a lot more gentle on the skin than traditional wax that stays sticky. Because it stays sticky, it's pulling the skin, so it's more pain, more redness and irritation, and more likely to lift the skin and have an adverse reaction versus hard wax that melts at a lower temperature, and once it completely sets up and like cools on the skin, it actually releases from the skin and just pulls that hair. So
Okay,
you
not
get
the
a lot,
skin.
yeah, you get a lot less irritation and pain that way.
Okay. So I remember the first time I warmed up the wax and I was like, okay, this looks fun, whatever. And slapped it on and I was like, someone's gonna have to do this for me. I was like, and it got, like, 'cause I started pulling it and then I was like, nope, this lives here now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's another story. So when I was still in beauty school, a friend and I decided that we were going to try to wax our own bikinis. But they don't teach bikini waxing in school because of liability purposes. So we're just, watching a couple YouTube videos, willy-nillying it over here. And I like laid the thigh strip, and this was before I knew about hard wax. So this was traditional wax. And I like lay my thigh strip and I was like, ooh, wow, okay, but I can do it, you know? And then I laid the first labia one, and I like just went to get that first little, and I died. I died. My soul left my body. And I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way this thing is coming off. Like, I
This lives
tried
here
to
now.
slide the strip off because I'm like, oh, the wax is still soft, and I tried to slide it off, but it was so sticky. It was still just pulling the hair. It was like excruciating.
You could see them lifting
So I put
away
a whole
from
bunch
the
of like oil on it. I'm like trying to get it off. I finally get the strip off at least after like literally dying. But then I still have all this wax all over me, and I'm trying to get it off with oil, and it's not coming off. And I have a genius idea to get into the bathtub, and then it stuck to the bottom of the bathtub. And I remember sitting there, my friends in my kitchen, and I remember sitting there like, am I gonna have to fucking call the fire department to like unstick my bathtub? Like, you're joking, right? Like, oh, it was terrible, but it was an ordeal. I finally got the fucking wax off, and yeah, and then I didn't try to wax my bikini for years. I honestly did not ever get a Brazilian until I was training at European Wax Center because they make us do it on each other. So
Yeah,
it
don't
was
sounds
awful.
like trust issues on trust issues. No.
It was terrible.
I actually did try waxing myself one time, and I was like a teenager, and my aunt always did my like eyebrows. This is just eyebrows. And I remember I being a bad girl, and then all my family found out. So I didn't want to see any of my family. So I had my grandma buy me like the wax, warm ones. You warm them in the microwave, and then like you put them on. I was like, I'll just do it myself. And that's why my eyebrow, well, I have a microbladed now, but like I legit waxed off my eyebrow.
Oh my God.
And I remember I was like, I'm never doing it again. And my family was all like, that's what you get. Like my aunt was like, I don't care that like you were in trouble for whatever. Like you could have just told me, but I
Yeah.
was more of like embarrassed to like go around the family. But it was like funny because I was like, that's not my career. That's not meant to be a max.
Leave it to the professionals.
Leave it to the professionals because I waxed off my eyebrow.
That's funny.
Walk around like that.
I had to like color it in. I had to color it in because it was like a whole chunk. Like,
Oh man. I can't
so,
even.
yeah.
My kids laugh at me because I can't like do anything with my eyebrows.
Like that. Oh, yeah.
I like pluck like once every 3 months. These are them. Very low maintenance. I don't do anything with them.
Mine don't grow. I'm a child of the 90s. I had like pencil eyebrows for
No,
way
you're
too
a
long.
victim.
A
Yeah.
Victim of the
victim of
90s.
90s.
Definitely. Mine are microbladed too, because otherwise I have like like this top half of this brow is gone, and this one has like notches like vanilla ice. No.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. Is that
That's
Sebastian?
crazy. Yeah. He keeps bringing me his ball. I'm like,
Oh my
get out of
gosh.
here. Okay, so we've talked about some of your worst stories and funniest stories. Do you have any of you, like, your most wonderful clients that we don't have to say names or anything like that, but you're like, do you get like a relationship, a bond with your clients?
Yeah, actually, I'm an odd one. I get like I have clients that have come to me for years, and like Cassie, actually, we're like girlfriends. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
we come in and we just kind of like dump all our shit, talk some shit, have a few laughs, and go on about our day. It's like we like didn't even like not see each other for a whole entire month or whatever. But I love that. I love my clients that like actually like my person. I can say a lot of off the wall shit, and I can be pretty weird sometimes. So it's nice when you have clients that can kind of give you that back. Whereas like sometimes I have clients that are like dead silent, and it's awkward
You're like,
for me because like you're naked and I'm like looking at your vagina and like staring into your like chocolate starfish here, so like when you're not talking, it's just weird. And like I've
Yeah.
literally like
Please don't make this weird.
I've gotten like a bad review about it before, like saying
Huh?
that like my conversation was unprofessional or like blah 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 blah. But I'm like, I was just like being me and trying to like make conversation. I don't know,
It
but
should
yeah,
be
like
weird if we're not talking to each other and your face
it's
is in the
weird. So like if
vagina.
you're like, I know there's like a whole trend there for a while where everyone was like, you can have a silent appointment. Not with me. No, don't. If you want a silent waxer, I'm not the one. I will make it
Yeah.
so awkward. I'll say something so stupid like, do you like hot dogs? Like I don't know.
Or
Or I'll
what did you
trauma
have for
dump a
lunch
little bit.
today?
Like I'm just like, yeah, so my kids this or that, and they're just like, but I don't know. I can't have silence.
You
Cannot
think
do
that
it.
you would get that from everyone, just like getting your hair done or getting your nails
hmm
done. It's the same thing.
I
It's
don't
free
know.
therapy.
I think there are
Yeah,
just people out there that don't want to talk.
especially if you see people on such a regular basis,
Right.
you should be able to get to know somebody
Well,
like
typically those ones don't come back. At least not
that.
after a couple times. So they kind of weed themselves out.
Find the personality that works for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for any first time waxers or even the reoccurring ones, like anything to help um prep the skin or like in between care, anything like that? And this can go for any part of the body. Not everybody is a fan of
Right.
complete 100% no hair.
I don't know. I mean, as far as like aftercare and whatever, there are so many different products and methods that you can do. I think you just kind of need to find what works best for you. No two people are the same. Like Cassie will tell you, I am not a salesperson. Like I'm not good in business, I guess. But
That's really good though, because nobody wants an upsell.
I hate it. I hate it. That's what I hated the most about working at EWC was just like they wanted me to push product, and I'm not like that. I'm not going to try to sell a product to somebody who literally doesn't need it. Like I'm not.
Mm.
But even when like I get asked like what can I do about this or whatever, I will give you the most simple, cost-effective option first, which is like make your own sugar scrub. Try that. Use like a like they have those cleansing cloths or whatever that
Oh
are
yeah,
like
yeah.
little buffers or whatever. Like try something like that.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work and we continue to have an issue, then we can talk about like other options as far as chemical exfoliants or whatever. But yeah, I give
Have
stuff away a lot too because I don't like charging people for things. So
Have you ever had a situation to where the skin was so sensitive that you probably had to advise, like, I don't think this is going to work out for you?
yes, on a couple occasions. And honestly, like I kind of leave it up to them. I will let them know like, hey, you seem to be having a little bit of an adverse reaction. Like I've had a couple clients that immediately like break out in hives in the area that they're getting waxed. But they
Mm-hmm.
swear by their wax and the hives go away within a couple hours and it's worth it to them. But when, like their first appointment, when I'm
Yeah.
seeing this and I'm like, okay, we need to stop because of this, luckily they were like,
Yeah.
oh no, I've been doing it for years, it happens every time. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you want to proceed, that's fine. And it's okay. It actually
Hmm.
did happen to me during a demo at Paul Mitchell. The model that they provided started breaking out too,
Oh
and
no.
she wanted to proceed because she wanted her arms waxed. But then afterwards I was like, that probably wasn't great on my part professionally while teaching a class to let her push through a histamine reaction. But I mean, you
Yeah.
just kind of go with, like, I've been doing it for 10 years. I can tell if, just by looking at the skin, if it's a typical, like, just histamine reaction and like a little hive that's going to go away versus whether or not it's something like more serious, like a skin lifting or,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I mean, you can kind of tell. And as long as you talk to your client about it and make sure that they're educated on the subject, you kind of figure out where to go from.
Okay, I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do along skincare. There's like the big debate. Does waxing give you ingrown hairs?
No. So, well, I can't say without a certainty. It's just the same thing. No two bodies are the same. So you're gonna have one end of the spectrum that says waxing actually is better for them. They don't get ingrown hairs like they did when they were
Exactly.
shaving. And then you're gonna have, the shavers that say that waxing was the problem. There's different factors too, like genetics, like certain ethnicities are more prone to ingrown hairs simply because of like the
Follicles?
texture, or yeah, and well, the follicles. So curly hair, actually, fun fact, curly hair happens because you have an abnormal follicle shape. Instead of being nice and round, it's actually a little bit more like teardrop, like eye shaped, and that's what causes the
Oh.
spiral. So someone that has more like kinky curly pubic hair is more likely to develop ingrown hairs. Sometimes it's not always true. Just because when the hair is growing in, kinky and curly instead of straight out of the follicle, it can kind of get trapped in that follicle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, no two people are the same. I think you just figure out what works for you. And like right now, like last month, I had like the worst like breakout I've like ever had. And I think it's just because we're in triple digit weather and I'm sweating like crazy. And of course, we have an open pore and sweat, and the
Mm-hmm.
two don't mix. So I got like not like major ingrowns, but just like I don't know, folliculitis, I guess they call it, where like my follicles were all kind of like red and itchy and
Inflamed. Yeah.
irritated. Yeah.
Is there any advice for ingrown hairs? Like how,
Um,
like if you're actively having one?
my best advice is to stay hydrated. So the primary cause of ingrown hairs are dehydration. And that's because when we are dehydrated, like our bodies inside and out, whether or not we're using a pubic oil makes a big difference too. But the first thing is we want to make sure we're drinking plenty of water, because when our skin's dehydrated, our pores shrink, and then it's going to hold on to that hair a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
And two, when you have dry skin, those platelets kind of like stack up on top of each other and clog that pore. So it makes it that much harder for a hair to push through. as well. So staying hydrated is number one. And then just exfoliation. You don't want to exfoliate every day, but a couple, maybe 3 times a week is good just to keep those follicles clear. But
Keep
yeah,
them
just,
moist.
Nice.
yeah.
She said it. We sound like plants.
I knew you were thinking it.
So you want to take the last one on the list?
Yeah, so another thing you want to ask was advice on like, your small business and like your social media. Because girl, you be popping up a lot on my, socials, and I love it because I feel like you're putting that's another full-time job in itself.
Ah,
Yeah,
Um
yes.
I'm learning
keep
that.
keeping yourself posting.
I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I honestly hate it. I definitely hate having to be the face of my business too. Like I wish like I could just be in the background, you know? But I also, funny thing is, as much as I like love hate this, I also run social media accounts for some like another like for a nonprofit. I have a personal account
Well,
and 2 business accounts because I have my own personal waxing business and then the salon to promote as well. Um, it is a full-time job. I hate it sometimes. Like sometimes I swear I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of a cell phone. Like I don't want it. I'm going back to a landline. Call me, you know? Um,
just don't call me.
but I don't know. I go through periods where I'm really good at promoting and making content and stuff, and then I get kind of burnt out on it and I'll kind of fall off for a little while. But at first it was really hard. And then I've had to like start social media accounts over again too. Like, they've gotten hacked and shut down, and then I have to start over. Like, I used to
Oh
have like
no.
major followers on Instagram and stuff from way back when, and I had to start over from scratch like 3 years ago. So,
Oh my goodness. Well, you've
yeah.
done a really good job because I
Oh,
would have never
thanks.
known.
Thank you.
So, do you think, following looping back around on a previous episode, we've said that consistency seems to be like the way to go. In other words, you can't get away from it. Like if you're not consistent
Oh,
in your post,
right. I
is
mean,
it
if
also
you want to do a
interacting?
social media thing, like I kind of miss word of mouth. I still know a few professionals that's still how they work and it works for them. I don't know, for
Mm-hmm.
me, like everyone like disappeared until I got back online kind of thing. Like, so many things change. You forget like how to get a hold of somebody. I went through that even after quarantine. Like when the other salon closed down, I had to take a year off, like I've been having to rebuild my clientele since that whole shutdown. And it's funny because even now, 3, 4 years later, I have people slowly trickling in that were like, I didn't know where the hell you went. I finally found you on social media, So I mean
That's cool.
it's a
That's
good thing, but
loyalty.
yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So, how is it hard to like brand yourself? What does that mean? Like branding yourself?
I don't know. I used to like try to like fit into a box, and just do, I don't know, do what you're supposed to do and do what other people are telling you. Like I took a few like of those like social media marketing classes and but I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't enjoy having to be a certain person. Like I
Yeah.
am who I am, but then
Something
I
you're
have to be
not.
this businesswoman, and it was just
Yeah.
like I had to clock into work every day and put on like my business hat, and it got exhausting. I got tired of actually like having to do that. Like I would get home and then I didn't want to like I was like talked out because I had to like make up conversation. I had to like, I
Yeah.
was exhausted at the end of every day. And so just this last year, I started just kind of like intermingling things a little bit. Like when I wasn't feeling promoting my business, I was posting like days cleaning the barn and, just like little things like that. Just to
Well, and
kind
also
of
makes you a little
stay
more
relevant, but
realistic.
like this is who I am. Like I'm not
Yeah.
just I'm not just her that you see in the salon or whatever. Like, I also have this whole other life too. I mean, and honestly, I feel like sometimes our clients forget that we're people, like we're human and we have
Yeah.
lives, you know? I mean, I
Yeah.
know I work in a service industry and I definitely rely on my clients to, you know, come in to make a living, but I also want to live a little bit too. So kind of helps remind
Yeah.
them.
It's more of a connection to who you truly are.
Yeah, and then now it
Not
doesn't feel so exhausting and forced, you know?
That's really good advice to hear. I ask because we do have a lot of small business owner accounts that follow us, and like, like we said, we wanted to take advantage of bringing someone on who is a successful businesswoman.
Hmm.
You're doing really well. Your content is beautiful, and I know that there are people out there who are just in their beginning stages, just like we are as a podcast. We're at the very newborn stages of it, like season 2, so maybe toddler-ish. We know we have these goals in mind and this vision of where we want to be, but don't really know how to get there,
Right.
or like the steps to get there. And I kind of want to be able to lean on each other and like, what works for you, what works for me, what works for me might not work for you.
I think my biggest advice there is that you're gonna make a lot of pivots in your career. You're gonna find what works and what doesn't. And you're gonna, if you have to roll with the punches, you know, if this if this didn't work, let's try something else. Like you're always, and then with every year that goes by, there's new trends, there's new social media accounts or new ways of engaging, and you're constantly having to learn and kind of like roll with the times.
Yeah, you have to stay current and up to date with what's going on, what's trending, what's out there. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely agree, and it's not easy.
No, definitely isn't. It's kind and this industry is like always changing. There's always something new, some
Day
new
to
beauty
day.
service. Yes. So,
Mhm.
yeah, you have to be able to roll with those punches. I think the single mom thing definitely helped me out there. I was ready. I was like born for this, you know. Let's go to war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already go to war every day, so let's just
Right.
add something else.
Right? If it's chaos, like I don't even know what to do with myself. No.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, what should I do?
Right? It's like circling back to, you know, Cassie creates her own chaos. So do I, you know? That's
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she needs a whole YouTube
how we
channel.
know how to live.
I know. Seriously. I don't know. When it's like calm, I'm like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something's coming.
I'm in
Like,
It's something
structured
I have
chaos.
to like I've kind of been working on because I saw this thing once that someone said if you're always waiting for, you know, something bad to happen, then you're not truly living in the
yeah,
now, you know?
yeah,
And so
That's true.
just kind of you know, trying to remind myself daily that you know, it's okay if the house is a mess today because it's still going to be there tomorrow, and you know, just
Mhm.
kind of giving yourself grace when you need it. And again, like circling back to like the beginning of our conversation, but being able to communicate our needs with our partners
yeah.
is huge. Like we were having, you know, some major disconnect there for a while where I was like spiraling. I would try to like hold everything in and then I'd like just lose my shit and like power
Mhm.
clean the house and I'm mad at everybody, and you know, and then eventually I was
Guilty.
like, you know, I have to let him know like that I'm struggling. And you know, it's hard sometimes, like miscommunication between men and women, but eventually it was like, you know, if you start to see these things or see this in me, then that's me, that those are the signs that I'm
Warning
struggling.
flags.
So take something off my plate. I don't care what it is, you know,
Mhm.
just something. Ask me if I need help. Ask me because if I'm clearly struggling with asking, you know.
Yeah.
And once we like work through that, things have been great. I mean, there, if you want to stop by my house unannounced, sometime it's gonna look like it's spotless and belongs in a magazine, and other times it's gonna look like a tornado came through there. But
And both
you know,
times you're gonna mind your business.
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. So you mentioned that you guys both not the co-parenting part, but
Mhm.
you and your now husband,
Mhm.
he has children from a previous marriage.
Mhm. Yeah.
How is his co-parenting relationship? Is that well? And do you guys, as stepmother or mother and bio mom and
Yeah.
stepmom, how does that relationship look?
I
Um,
struggle.
it there's always something. Like, I don't think any divorced parents like ever have it figured out 100%. You know, like, of course I feel like the beginning is always the most rocky. Like, Anthony and I have been together, I just realized this the other day, like almost 10 years. And
Nice.
yeah, yeah, crazy. And the very beginning was hard. And even with like cuz my kids have two different dads. So like I co-parent with two different people. You
Hmm.
know, well, three essentially if we you know, include Anthony's ex-wife. And the beginning's
True.
always rocky because, you know, someone is having to lose somewhere, right? You know, or at least
Yeah.
it feels that way to start.
Hmm.
But you know, eventually it all worked out. I feel like we primarily work pretty cohesively now. And, you know, every once in a while, a little something might, you know, pop up, but nothing major, nothing like the beginning. So, yeah, it's been pretty good and peaceful lately.
Yeah. I don't think that that road is very straight. It's always going to be
Hmm.
very curvy and all over
Yeah.
the place. And it may feel like it's going straight for a while, and something will always throw it off. The curveballs on in
Mm-hmm.
every direction.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One thing that I always tell my ladies that are going through a divorce or have just separated and whatever, even if they're not married, is handle that custody now. It doesn't matter if
Yes.
right now seems like it's going great, you want it on paper, because if you don't deal with it now, you're going to be dealing with it later, and it's better to just
Yes.
squash it early.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
definitely preach that. We preach that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
Handle your shit, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that is not your husband, then go get it on paper.
Yeah.
I think it's always a struggle. Like when you're like, oh, you have this idea. Like I had really good examples of co-parenting for my mom and her ex and his wife. They're best friends, like to this day.
Yeah.
But that's because she co-parented with the wife. Like the dad wasn't going to baseball practices or signing up
Hmm.
for, you know, classroom parties or any of that.
Yeah.
And they literally even co-parented like her husband's he had two more children with his wife, and my mom helped also with that. Like they were just always,
Hmm.
together, camping together. And so I had that really good example. And even in my situation where I'm at, I'm like, I wouldn't want to be there, because I feel like that
Hmm.
wouldn't work for me. But I
Hmm.
would like, just civil, like just to be civil at sports,
Right.
practices,
Award.
awards.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't want our kids to ever, like, I don't like my kids to feel like, oh, I have to look at mom or I
Yeah.
have to look at dad. Like, no,
Hmm.
like we should be able to at least sit together and be like, hi,
Hmm.
because that's what I feel is best for the kids. And that's kind of like where
Right.
I struggle sometimes, because then we could be like that. And then, like you said, something happens and then it's back to like
Hmm.
non-existing. And then it's like, how do you get back to kind of where
Yeah.
you're working on being? And I think that's like the biggest struggle for like me.
I think the biggest thing is just being an adult and realizing that it's not about you, it's about the kids, and you need to put your feelings aside for them.
Yeah.
Period. You know, like I mean, addressing an issue should never be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, you
you
have to
should
take
be
your
able to
personal
have
feelings out
good
of it.
conversation, no matter how upsetting it might be. And there might be some name calling shouldn't be said. I mean, a stern voice or whatever, fine. We can get over things like that. But you should be able to have an open conversation with another adult and it not be a problem.
Yeah.
I struggled with that. I dealt with that kind of stuff before too, and but yeah, no, eventually, we just had to apologize to each other and say we're gonna work on this, better going forward. And things have been quite great with, well, at least with my twins's other halves. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like you, like we're like your parents. I actually deal with her. I don't really talk to him when, so,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say we're like friends or whatever, but like, like, if the girls want to stop by and play with the goats, like she's, I'm happy to have her come over and she'll walk out to the barn with us or, whatever. We're really good at communicating. Like we live around the corner from each other now. So if someone has an appointment or anything coming up and we need to adjust our schedules a little bit, like we're able to do that, and it's
That's
it's
nice.
it's really nice to finally have that, for sure.
That's good. My take has been, I've been co-parenting for about 10 years now. And once I realized I was never going to get an apology,
Mm,
and that my divorce has nothing to do with the children,
yes.
you have to just separate your personal feelings from the situation. You
Hmm.
can't, I think those who are still either stuck in the past or can't get past the problem, like can't see past the problem, you will always react with emotion instead
Hmm.
of properly.
Hmm.
Because it should be about the kid. It shouldn't be about how you feel. Like, I'm sorry for all the women who can't get over it, but like, fuck your feelings. Like, you have
Yeah.
to get
Hmm.
over it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this has been nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize an hour had went by. It went by so
I
quickly.
know it did.
Well, you have any last words that you want to give or last pieces of advice or anything like that for us?
Well, I think I totally forgot to mention like how to find me on social media and all of that
Of
jazz
course.
in the beginning. So,
Plug yourself.
like I
Plug
said, I
yourself
go
in.
by Crystal Cosmo. You can find me on Instagram, Crystal Cosmo Hairless Hippie. Or
So
TikTok
cute.
is Crystal Cosmo Wax. Instagram and Facebook are the same. And then, or you can visit my website, so you can find me on Google and all that jazz too. And then make sure to follow the Beauty Lounge. That's my salon. If you do hair, we do have stations for rent. So,
Hey.
right? Yeah.
No, yeah, plug, definitely. And we will make sure to link all of your socials and how people can find you.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thanks so
Well, thank
much.
you so much, Crystal, for
Of
your
course.
time
Thank you
today.
guys.
We appreciate it. And then
Yeah.
we had
Thanks for having
fun.
me. Yeah. It was easy
Yeah.
talking to you guys. This is what I like. See, this is how all clients and everything need to be.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how you know you
Perfect.
have a good
All
fit,
right.
though, when the vibe's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. Thank you.
All right.
All
Have a good night.
Thanks.
right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to another hour of our bullshit.
Make sure you follow us on all of our socials at bfil.podcast.
You can catch us every week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Bye, besties.